Okay, so we are live. Welcome to those watching us live. Welcome to those watching us on the replay. I don't normally say this, but I would actually, if people are watching and they want to put comments on, and we maybe can answer those towards the end. So, my guest today is Shannon Andrews. Now, Shannon, I never introduce my guests, so if you've ever seen the beginning of my lives, I don't introduce my guests because I think I do a very bad job of it. So I always put it over to my guest, and just to say to you, can you just introduce yourself, maybe hit some of the highlights you think people should know about you in the context of this conversation, or anything that you think people should know about you.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me to join you. I have built something called the Authority Engine, but right now I'm running an experiment, and that is to see how experts can stay visible online on LinkedIn, but more importantly, credible and retain their voice in an AI-driven world. And the experiment has come about because, like I say, I've built the Authority Engine, and that was built for me to stay visible, because I would post in bursts. I'd have a great idea, do a couple of posts, and then disappear again. And I believe that to be an authority in your niche, you need to first be visible. You need to build credibility, and then authority will come. So the system was built in that way, that I would input an idea at the beginning of the week. The system would then take over and generate a blog article for me that I would post on LinkedIn, and then it would amplify that same message in 3 different ways and generate some LinkedIn posts for me. And it worked a treat. And I've gone from posting a couple of times in a month to, for a month, I posted 5 times consistently every week. And it felt great. I was like, I cracked it. I nailed it. My system works. I was basically proving it in public because I wanted to build that trust with people. But 4 weeks in, I'm starting to feel disconnected. There's a feeling inside in my gut, and I'm like, something feels off. So, and the feeling that was off was because I was drawn to the most human posts, the ones that were raw, the ones that exposed everything that they were doing. They weren't necessarily written structurally perfect. They just really showed the person's personality. So I had to sit there, and I was like, okay, what does this mean for me? If I myself am drawn to the most human posts, what does that say for my system that is writing for me? So there was a real moment where I was like, I think I might be missing something here of what people actually want right now, considering, everybody's jumping on, or not everybody, a lot of people are jumping on board with AI, or at least exploring it and using it in their content. What does that mean? So I decided to run an experiment to establish for me what that means. And I'm doing it very publicly because I could just jump on somebody else's framework and say, do this, this works, but I want to live it. I want to go through the ups and the downs, experience what is working, what isn't, but in a public way. So, sorry, I'm already jumping around. The experiment is basically the first month I'm writing for myself, no AI, to find my baseline again, find who I am. Then the second layer would be to run some AI experiments. So how can AI help me with my hook? How can it help me maybe turn my idea into a story kind of post? Can it help me speak more to my ideal client with their pains and their desired outcomes? So that is phase 2. And then phase 3 will be how that all comes together and what that actually means for my product. So I'm not anti-AI. I'm pro-voice. I'm pro keeping that human side of you, that part that keeps you authentic in amongst all the people that, are offering similar things to you. And Yeah, well, I'm 2 weeks in, so I haven't got all the answers. You're going to find that out. But if any of this resonates, if you're curious about AI and how to use it, it might be beneficial to like follow along. I'm going to be very transparent in what I'm doing. So yeah, that's a lot of words. I hope I didn't jump around too much.
It's fantastic. I think the only problem is that you've given me so many places to go. So, first of all, I think just really, I want to congratulate you, because I see a wonderful person in front of me, someone that is taking a bold, brave step, to put yourself out there, put yourself on camera, to experiment and to build on public is fucking difficult. It is hard.
Yeah, am I doing? You're doing wrong.
No, you're not. But that's, I think, one of the reasons I want to have these lives is because we live in this world where everything looks to be shiny, looks to be perfect. Everything is, follow this one system and then you'll be a millionaire, etc.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it isn't like that. We are humans. We do want that connection, and I think the fact that the way that I posted is something that attracted you to actually reach out to me. And again, I'm not anti AI. I use AI to enhance what I'm saying or just edit what I'm saying. But the reality is, it is me. I write everything. It just sort of unjumbles a lot of what I say.
Yeah.
And I believe that so many people out there are sick and tired of seeing the perfect world, seeing, okay, yes, I've done it this way, follow me, that I know the system and I'll take you to utopia. And
Yeah.
when I meet people like you, I absolutely love it, because you remind me of myself. I come with a lot of insecurities. I came with a lot of insecurities, but slowly but surely I progressed and I put myself on video, and I recognize a lot of myself in you. So it's a compliment to you, but also a compliment to me. So, but that human side is something I think we really miss, and it's very easy to sit behind a keyboard. We talked about this before, to sit there and type words and be a keyboard warrior. It is so much harder to put yourself out on video when everything probably in your nervous system is saying, oh no, people are going to judge me, what do I look like, etc., etc. And I know how that feels. And the fact that you've actually done it and you're continuing to do it is so inspirational. And I know you probably don't realize that, because you're probably going through a load of stuff in your head when you're posting and thinking about that. But I love what you're doing. I love that you're refining it as you're going. You're learning. You haven't just stuck with your idea and said, okay, that's it, everyone follow me. You've done it, and you're testing it for yourself. And to build in public, I think really will build, an amazing audience, because they'll trust you, see what you're going through. And I think people really connect with human beings. They want that real side of things. And for me, you are really a shining star in all of that, because you have the courage to do it. And I know you won't think that, but every time I see you, I'm like, oh, okay, she's there, she's done it. Like, I know there must have been some, struggles in your head of, oh, okay, shall I post this? Maybe re-record. I've done all that, so I think I see that. But that's bravery in my eyes, because it takes a lot of courage to do that and to do it publicly. So it's a big compliment, huge. And whenever you feel that doubt that, oh, okay, it's not perfect, it shouldn't be perfect, because I think that's what people really want to see. They don't want to see oh yeah, this, just follow this 3 things and then we're done, because it doesn't work like that. People have done it for a long time. And in a world of AI, it can be very difficult to understand what's real and what's not. But I don't think you can fake how we feel and how we come across. And that's, people have said to me about these conversations, should they be shorter and edited? But I don't want them to be that way, because for me, it's an hour's conversation. unscripted. And I'm sure AI will get very good at some point in time, but they won't show all of the things that are wrong. You know, the other day I was doing this and there was a fly that landed on me, and there's like, oh my God, like, it's just, but that's the human side. And I think people will connect with that. And you're on that journey. And I absolutely love that about it, because you're building it for yourself, you're building it for other people, and you're putting it out in public. And that takes strength, courage, and bravery. So congratulations to you.
That was thank you, a big compliment. Yeah, I know the kind of business I want, and I know how I want to, you know, serve my clients. I don't desire, I mean, if it ends up with a massive following, great, but only if I know my audience and I connect with them and I treat them as friends and, you know, people that I genuinely want to help. I don't want to just gather the masses, you know, and get all the all the vanity likes and everything. Something hit home the other day on a post that I was reading, and some of the comments were saying the penny really drops about connection when you post something and you get 0 likes or comments, but somebody DMs you and they become a client. It's like, that's the moment. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. Because when I mean, I'm new to LinkedIn, so that's a hurdle in itself. And like anybody else, I'm like caught up in impressions, like how, oh, whoa, oh, wow, great day, bad day, this, that, and the other. But if you're not getting true human interaction, engagement, you know, people repeating your words back or asking questions and stuff, those impressions mean absolutely nothing. They're pointless. So I've gone on that whole journey myself too. And, you know, I still do look at impressions and I'm like, because they have dropped at the moment. Because I've changed what I'm doing, because I'm not doing that initial blog article first. I've realized that has an impact on the rest of the week. I had half term, 2 weeks of half term. It felt like everyone disappeared. I'm like, come on, where are you all? But I'm learning to just just calm. I'm definitely in it for the long run. I'm not here for a quick win. I'm here so that when I talk to someone about what I do, they can see I've lived it. They can see that I've gone through the pain that they're going through and I've come out the other side. Because even my journey with AI and automation, if I look at it as just around content, my initial usage of it was to automate the whole system, the whole thing. And it was this massive big system. Again, thought I had the answer, solved it all. And it took a singular keyword. Take the keyword, it would do the keyword research for me, it would do the SEO plan for me, it would structure my post, my blog article, it would write the blog article, and it would publish it. I was like, wow, you know, I'm dreaming of being on a beach and everything is working for me. And I built a website around that, did it all. And then you kind of slow down. I'm like, okay, let's just have a read at some of my work here. And I was like, wow, yeah, not good enough. Stop straight away. I was like, it's generic. The structure is all the same. There's no personality in there. I was like, yeah, bad idea. So I scaled back. And that was the beginning of the authority engine, because I scaled back the use. I was like, okay, definitely needs to be human input. Must be first. Stand by that. And human review at the end. So you put your bit in the middle, at the start, the system takes over, and then you must sit down. And that's what I was saying was a must with my Proven in Public recently. And again, it worked, and that's where the disconnect comes. But let's just talk about that human input side of it. If we're always, I realized since forcing myself to write with AI in this first phase of this experiment, which has been awful. Like, it's been awful. I made a system because I struggle with content generation. I made a system which meant after that initial idea, literally minutes, click a few buttons, done. I'm now, if you see my post this morning, no joke, I had a bit of a moment where I was trying to write a post. It took me 2 hours. My family are here, they're all talking, they're playing, and I'm sat at the computer like, come on, get the words to do their thing. And I'm typing it, I'm erasing it. No, back. Like, honestly, it was an absolute joke. So what I've realized, it isn't actually AI that's taken the authentic out of us. It's that we don't actually know how to write, or I certainly don't know how to write anymore. Who am I when I write? Everything. Sorry, I'm not explaining. If you input performance and no connection, if you're just inputting, I think I should sound like this, I think my audience want to hear that, or I can't say that bit of me, that's a bit too, I'm going to expose myself as not somebody who's authoritative right now, then that's what the system's going to pump out. And how are you going to sound any different from the next person? It's that, so it's the input has to be that raw element of you, not the performative, the raw, the bit that's going to be honest, it's going to show you imperfect, it's going to show you vulnerable and the emotion. And I guess people in authority already now are going to struggle with that, because it's like, I'm going to expose myself now as somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. But what I'm seeing in the comments already is that people, like you say, people want to connect. They want to see the real you. They don't want to see somebody that's all shiny and perfect and so far out of reach. They're like, how am I ever going to get there? So the point I'm making is that input when you use AI has to be you. And you might think it is you, but it really isn't. It isn't until you stop using AI that you realize, for myself, my own journey, how much I was dependent on it. Like I couldn't, until the last couple of weeks, I couldn't give you one bit of content that I'd written that AI hadn't tweaked in some way. Because I didn't trust, I was so worried about what people were going to think. Is it the right hook? Am I saying the right point in the middle? Am I finishing on a good question or a good emotional point? Everything has been touched by AI, which is a bit scary in itself. That I can't just sit down and, say what I think or what I want to say. Even though there's value there, I'm so worried about saying it the wrong way. So is there a point in that I'm saying?
Yeah. This is really interesting, because as you were talking, I think content is very different. So when we write a certain way, again, I'm aware of the hooks, the middle, the end, etc., call to action, a whole load of things. And again, I've followed a lot of people that have sort of explained how to do this and stuff. And to be honest, I've kind of gone away from it. Sometimes I go, oh, that's not great, or the opening or the hook is not great. But what I realise is that content just plays a small part in what I do. The bigger part is the video, the conversation, this. And you can't, you don't fake it. I don't think you can fake it to the point where it's real. And so but I was thinking, as you were saying, so when you have to put in to AI how you are, do you express I'm just thinking in my head, so I started journaling a while ago. So can you just be honest and just say, I'm having a shit day, my kids are driving me up the wall, I don't know what to post, create a post for me about struggling with that? Is that how you do it? Does that work?
See, this is the thing, I'm not going to claim that I have the answer yet. This is just what I'm finding in 2 weeks into my experiment of what the problem is that I can tell you now, hands down, if I was to show you my prompts that I use in my system, they are all about performance. They start with, you are an expert hook writer and you're going to give me the best LinkedIn hook to get my audience and X, Y, and Z. All of my prompts are like that. It's all about structure, write this here and do this here. And none of it was about presence, how to get that element of it into the post. So I've been doing it wrong. I thought I needed to write perfect. I thought I needed the structure right. I needed this. I never once really touched on the emotion element of it and how to build connection. And I think that's where I've missed the trick so far. So 2 elements, I'm not inputting the authentic me because I'm so worried about performing correctly, how people are going to expect me to be, coupled with not prompting correctly because I want to be an authority. I want people to look at me and be like, oh, she's got it all worked out and everything. It was never about emotion this has only come about now. So I don't want to make claims of how you should prompt and do this, because that's going to be phase 2 of the experiment, where that's where the fun begins. Like, I cannot wait to take one of my raw posts, which again, that's still not 100% me, in the sense of I'm still performing in my head. How should I be writing for LinkedIn? Short, snappy, punchy sentences, which when you do, you miss out all those emotional raw bits because you're trying to condense it. Because as I keep hearing on LinkedIn, it needs to be skimmable. It needs to, people don't want to read anymore. It needs to be short sentences and stuff. So I'm probably still missing out a lot of the rawness of me. So I've got 2 more weeks of this, which is another 8 posts handwritten, which I'm not looking forward to. But where are we going with this? So
let me ask you a question, because the fact is, I really enjoy our conversations. We, all of my guests, we have a conversation before, we even do a live, just to make sure it works for both of us. We spoke for, I think, about an hour. And for me, that's what I want. I really believe that there are people out there. I understand people say that, there is an attention deficit. People want to just skim and read. But I also believe in myself, because when something lands, I will watch it, I will read it, I will pay attention to it. And so people have advised me to really make these shorter. And I get that from a perspective of that's the way that everyone tells you to do it. But something inside of me truly believes that what I do and how I do it is going to reach the right people. And if the other people don't want that, then they're not my audience. So and I've spent I've tried different businesses. I'm not sitting here today going, oh yeah, I've got it all mastered, because I really, really don't. I'm just enjoying what I'm doing. And then out of that may blossom something, opportunities. I'm not quite sure. But a lot of the times people have said to me, okay, find your niche, find your ideal client. And whenever I've done that, it's felt very difficult, because I've tried many different clients in many different ways. And I feel that by speaking, by having these conversations, will automatically filter out the people that like me or don't like me. And then those ones will follow me. Whereas before it was, okay, build who your ideal client is. But I don't really know. I don't want loads of versions of me. That's not perfect. It might be people a few steps behind. It might be people in front of me that want real conversations. I'm really not sure. So the whole niche down, I've really struggled with it. I know I have come across so many people that said, when you find your niche, it's amazing, things take off, etc. But every time I've tried to do it, it really doesn't work for me. And I don't know if that's something that I'm missing, or just something that I should just not focus on. So, what's your experience so far with that?
What with niching down? Well, I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone in all aspects, in the sense that everything that I've built has been built on assumptions, what I think people need, what problem I think they have. So in terms of niche, and I'm still finding my feet as well, and it is through conversation we're going to find our place. It's people that we connect with. We can't force ourselves into a niche if we can't connect with them. So at the moment, my niche is coaches and consultants. Whether it will stay that, I have no idea. I'm kind of feeling like maybe it's going to change slightly, but you're further along because you're talking to people. I have a very good thing of just hiding behind my computer and think that I'm talking to people, but I'm not. So after this, I've already pushed it myself in my brain that the next step would be for me to be reaching out to people to do, a conversation or having a chat first offline. Who knows, it might go online. But I think it is an organic process, isn't it? to find your community who you want to work with. So yeah, I'm still at the beginning stage, so I can't really give advice on that one, when, you know, my go-to is to think I'm building a business for a niche that I haven't spoken to. So yeah, I think for me, I'm desiring connection, which is why I was drawn to those posts. My next step is to actually have conversations and not worry, you know, talk to people, listen to what they're saying, and then that will just organically, my niche will appear from that.
Yeah, do you know what? You inspire me. I know that you think that you're behind the curve, or you know, you're very hard on yourself, but I absolutely love this, because you have this mentality of you're doing something, you know that things aren't quite landing, so you're pivoting. You are so open to listening to other people's ideas, and I come across so many people that are really stuck in one way, and that for me that doesn't build anything. That's just, okay, I'm going to go. And you've said, you know, you've based it on assumptions, and you know that, okay, now I need to go and have conversations.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's out of your comfort zone. So one thing that I've always struggled with was rejection. I would not even have a conversation for the thought of being rejected.
Yeah.
And something so strange happened when I started doing this. I didn't worry about rejection at all. It just went away, and it's the strangest thing. I didn't do anything. I don't know how it happened. I started to reach out to people. So the way that works for me is that I reach out to 20 new people every day on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
And it's very easy. You just connect with people. It takes 5 minutes to do. I have a software in the background that just sends a really nice opening message. And if people respond to that, then I take over. I don't allow that conversation to be automated. Sometimes that's just yeah, great to connect by. Sometimes it's that people open up, and then I have a great conversation. And then through that, I say, look, I never push people. Well, I pushed you to do this live because I absolutely know this is something that's so good. When people see who you are and what you're building, and in a way that is so authentic, people will want to connect with you. Because trust me, I really know in my heart that you think that because you don't know everything yet, but what you're doing and how you're doing it is perfect. That's exactly what people want. They want to be on your journey. That they're intrigued by what you're doing, experimenting, how you're doing things. And yeah, I can see that you're beating yourself up for not knowing it all, but that's most of us. But we don't often talk about it. But you're doing that, and you're doing it in public. So I think people will really be inspired by what you're doing and want to connect. So the more people that see you, I think the better for you. So that's
it's going back to that performance. And you know, like I quickly said to you before we started, I've got so much to say, but I'm almost like too giddy about it to get my words out. So I was like noting everything, what I need to say, and this to the point where I kind of like psych myself out, which is absolutely ridiculous, because I'm literally living this every day, all day. So I could talk about it. I just need to, but I'm so worried about performing and saying the right thing. I was talking to my husband about it last night, because obviously he knew this was coming up, and I got him so excited about what I've discovered and everything, because it was just, we were just flowing back and forth. And I thought, wow, we should have recorded, like, that's the moment we need to record. So I need to get him on camera first, actually, because, you know, he's very good at asking me the right questions also to get out of, and then extend it also himself and give his opinion. But going back to the rejection side of things, I heard on a podcast or something I was listening to a while ago that rejection is actually victory, because it means you're actively putting yourself out there. And that's what I haven't mastered yet, is that, yeah, no, you're not for me. Yeah, no, that's not quite right. So yeah, that's my next bit, is the getting those no's. and then eventually a yes.
So I just want to touch on two things. There is something in my head that says you should get yourself like a GoPro or something, because this happened when we spoke last time before this live. When you talk about it, you come alive, and that's very infectious, very infectious. And I'm on Instagram. I really don't understand it, to be honest, but that seems a place where people are like, oh, okay, they're interested in watching stuff. So for LinkedIn, I'm not quite sure. That's where I spend most of my time. That's how I connect with people. But I feel that if you just recorded those things, and it's easy to say, and I've never done it, but you come alive when you're excited about all these things. It can just be a clip for a minute or 30 seconds, and people will really feel that. And that's one of the things that I think people really want, is that energy, that excitement. And and you've said this word performance a lot, and it's really strange because we're almost institutionalized into a way of thinking, oh, we've got to perform, we've got to be perfect, we've got to be professional, etc. But for me, we've done all that. We what we want is that real side, and that idea, that connection with people. And you really have this beautiful way of coming alive when you talk about that. So get yourself a GoPro, just record the conversations, and just sort of, maybe even not now, maybe when you've got a bit of time, just edit it down or something, or just take a little clip, because that I think will even build things more. And so that it links into this conversation about being rejected, because oftentimes we go out to people to say, okay, do you like me? Do you like what I've got? And that can feel very scary. But when you're just doing this and building it, and you don't care about that, rejection sort of just fades away. So I think that's what happened to me. It was just, okay, I'm going to do this. Absolutely, if you don't want to connect with me. And it's quite a strange feeling, because it's very freeing, and you just go, okay, I'm going to do this. And that never once enters my mind when I'm doing these lives. It's just like, okay, I'm going to have this conversation. I don't even know how many people watch this. I've been caught in the vanity metrics before, and people are interested in how many impressions I've got. I don't really focus on that. I focus on the conversation, and I'm going to let the rest work itself out. I know there is this sweet spot where you can do both, but for now, I'm just doing the bit that I like, because the algorithms change. So for a long time, when I first started, I saw a lot of people saying, yeah, this is how the algorithm on LinkedIn works. This is how it should be. And I was like, okay. And I started following that. And it was just so boring. It was just so, and then you go, oh, am I a success because I've got these impressions, or I've gone viral? And so what happened to me was, the follower count was something that I did because I was doing it on my own. You kind of want to see that you're making progress. And so I had this thing in my mind. I started about 1,800, 1,900 followers. And then I had this 3,000 in my mind. And when it was getting to 3,000, I thought there was going to be this amazing moment where, oh yeah, all the doors open, people are going to flood in, etc. And it was like, it really wasn't like that. And it was this light bulb moment that I was chasing something that wasn't actually, it was good enough to get me motivated. But at a certain point, that motivation just turns into habit, and you just do it. And I look at my followers, but like you said, you're very intentional about what you're doing. You can have 1 million followers and no one buy what you're selling. Or you can have 1,000 and they're your true fans and they love what you do. And for me, spending the time on the people that you want to connect with and having deeper, more meaningful conversations is much better. Yeah, it might seem great, to get all these followers. I'm not saying I wouldn't want a lot of people to listen to me, because I do, because I think there is value in what I do. But I don't need millions and millions. That's not my aim. It's more to connect with people and bring something that I feel is real, that I feel that other people would get value from. And if that works, and that is, we say successful as in brings in money or something, fantastic. That's my goal. And I love because you said it earlier and I didn't really sort of pick up on it, you're very intentional about where you want to go. And we often do it the other way around. I am saying this from a person that's done it. I've gone, okay, I want to make £1 million a week. For what reason? I don't live £1 million a week lifestyle. I don't need that. I'm not saying if you want to throw me £1 million, I wouldn't be happy. It's oftentimes we're influenced by the outside and, you know, how things should be or how we think or we assume. And slowly I'm breaking that down and saying, no, I'm going to show up. So one of the big things that I do is that I have this little thing in the background. I don't know if we talked about it before, but this is something that my kids bought in a DIY store. I stuck it there, and at first I was having one of these conversations. I was going to put it down. I was like, no, leave it up, because that's something. If anyone asks, it's my kids. I've got kids. Yeah, I don't bring them on camera, but yeah, I'm a dad. You know, all these things, and that's what you were telling your story earlier. You were doing something. You were sitting there. Your family's there for 2 hours. You're sitting in front of the computer. That is a real raw thing that we don't share. We don't say, but you have said it, and that will make people go, yeah, I'm that person. I've sat in front of that computer. I'm ignoring all the people in the background because I want to do something. And that for me will build authority. That is performance. And because we confuse that performance as in it's got to be professional and perfect. And I think what you're doing is so much deeper than that, and so will resonate with so many more people.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that was a bit of a moment, and I'm disappointed in myself that I let those moments happen, because I want to build a business as well where I am first and foremost a wife and a mother, and then the business, you know, comes along with that. I don't want to. The reason I'm at home building this business is so that I can still be there for my children, and then, you know, I'm so focused on, you know, what I need to get done next, and then I'm just missing all the fun. So, you know, I am trying to set up boundaries as well. In an ideal world, Sundays will be completely, you know, no work, don't think about it, just switch off. But it's hard when you desire to do well, and, you know, it's like the washing, it never ends, right? There's always work to do. So I'm learning the boundary of just like, okay, there's work to do, but I need to stay present now. Like, this is why I'm doing it, is for the family, you know. So, yeah, I'm definitely on a journey, and I'm really excited. I wish the only skill I wish I had right now is that I could articulate all that's going on inside of me, because according to my notes right now, we've touched on about 10% of them. So, you know, there's so much more about what I'm doing. You know, I'm not, like we said, I'm not anti-AI, I'm pro-voice, keeping, you know, the human side of it. I'm not anti-systems. Systems can do wonders for you. They keep you consistent. They take away decision fatigue. They help you what to post, when to post. The trouble with systems is if you don't have the right input, and then you're just getting a generic output. When you're basing everything on performance, as we're talking about, and not actually connecting with your audience because you're too scared of how people are going to perceive you. So yeah, I'm really excited that, I have to say, up until this point on Wednesday, like I say, if anybody actually reads my post today, that was like a turning point for me. After that, I was kind of in a place where I was like, what am I doing? This is what I say in the post, like, what am I doing? Why have I done this so publicly? This is torture. Like, why am I pushing myself to write shit, like just me, when I can make a system? But the point is, I have to find myself. I have to find what I stand for, my feelings about things, what's irritating me. Like you say, not come across in this performative perfection way, you know, I figured it all out. I need to get comfortable with writing how we're talking, where it's all raw. And yeah, I'm just exposing myself as somebody that hasn't figured it all out. And I need to get comfortable with that in my content. Otherwise, the system's just going to produce performance again. And we need to be using it. It's not going away, like we said. AI isn't going away. We just need to learn how to retain ourselves, which again is very hard, because AI works so fast. I can't tell you the amount of times where I've given it a task and it gives me the output and I should just walk away. I should just stop there, but it doesn't. It gives you the next thing. Do you want me to do this? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, let's see what this looks like. And then it does that, and then it's offering me something else. And then I'm so far from where I wanted to be, but you're so like, it's so amazing. I'm like, wow, like I can achieve great things with this, but there's not an essence of me in it. But you're so caught up in this journey of like perfection and like, oh wow, now I really sound like I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's go with this. But people aren't going to connect to that, you know. So yeah, I'm excited because I know I won't stop. You know, I'm just going to evolve. Like if you saw me 6 months ago, I never would have believed you if you said, Shannon, that's where you're going to be in the future. You're going to be doubting your system. You're going to be questioning everything. So yeah, it's exciting because, yeah, I know I'm exploring all possibilities, avenues. And yeah, I'm 2 weeks in, so there's a few more weeks to go. So where's it going to take me? I don't know.
I think it's honestly, it's so brilliant what you're doing, and the fact that, because I think we have this thing that when we start we need to be perfect, so like everything on camera, etc. But
yeah,
yeah, and that's again social media. I say, you know, I'm not against social media. The reason that we're having this conversation is because of social media, but at some stage it takes over, and it's that boundary that's difficult to put in place, especially as you say, it's moving so fast. Because I use ChatGPT, and at some stage when I the job that the business that I was starting to create before this one was, I was trying to help leaders connect with their people. And I had a conversation with ChatGPT, and it said, oh yeah, I'll set you up a 30-day plan. And I was like, oh great. So then it said, oh, I'm going to create something in Notion for you. And I don't know if you ever use Notion.
I don't. I know of it.
No. So and then you go, oh, hang on, I've got to learn Notion. And you go, okay. And then there's a 30-day plan, and it says, oh, you can then charge this for a day rate, or you could do this and this and this. And yeah, we had a conversation for probably about half an hour, and he's created this whole thing. And I'm like, that's amazing. By the end of this, I'm going to be a millionaire within 30 days. And I'm like, that, and I was bought into it, and I was like, and then literally the next day, I had such a low, because I felt very like a failure, that I wasn't moving as quick as the AI was, or things weren't working that way. And I was like, and then I followed the 30-day plan for a while, and then I started to say, oh no, this feels not like me. And it took me a while, because I trusted it very much to sort of say, oh, this feels great. And especially when you're lost and you don't know the best way. And you know, we're all starting businesses, and I've never done it before. I created a company 8 years ago, never made a penny. This is the thing that I've made the most progress on since. I've tried little things in the past, never sort of got off the ground. So when you're in that stage, you know, and you have something like ChatGPT that helps me feel good about myself, you're like, yeah, great. But it isn't there. It isn't holding your hand. It isn't, you know, you can put your laptop down, and then you actually have that real conversation with your partner or your friends and say, oh, I feel absolutely terrible. And that isn't, you know, you might be feeding that into AI or whatever, but it's missing a lot of the human side. And at the end, I threw it away, and I was like, this doesn't feel like me. And it feels very robotic, and it took me a while, and to do that felt good. Like I felt like an authority over myself to say, okay, this isn't me. But I also felt this failure to go, oh, hang on a second, that made me look like I was successful, or I was performing, and I could have just done this. But we don't work in the same way as robots and tech. You know, it just isn't who we are. We've got so much more stuff going on, and I think it's very easy to get sucked into that. And I'm not saying that won't happen to me again, because I'm sure it will. And it's just where that barrier is, where the boundaries you set, and those boundaries seem to be moving, and especially when you're doing it yourself and you go, okay, yeah, it seems good, and you can go down many rabbit holes and
Yeah.
find yourself even more lost at some point.
Well, because consider this: if you were to ask the same question in a new chat and say, "Give me a 30-day plan," you know, the output is going to be a different 30-day plan.
Yeah,
which is scary when you're that reliant on it, that you take it as gospel. Okay, good, I have a plan. This is what I need to do. But yeah, ask it another day, you're going to get a different plan. Now what do I do? I think that's where, and I've fallen into that trap where you stop thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
What AI should be used for is to remove friction, a sounding board. I'm thinking this and this, or just to explore options, not say give me this, because you're gonna fall flat on it, and it's not going to feel right, and you're not going to feel connected. And I think in doing that as well, you're almost bypassing the hard work.
Yes.
What I'm going through now, I know in my heart I have to go through this. I have to. And at the start of it, I did the same thing. I had my plan written by AI, and I knew what I needed to do. It got me going, but very quickly I'm like, yeah, actually, I need to figure this out myself as a human. So, yeah, I mean, we all fall into that trap. And, we're just one. Imagine if a business is following that. Like, what a shambles and a mess it's going to be. And I think the thing that has scared me the most, I think, with using AI is that element of I stop thinking for myself, because you can work faster, I can get more done, but where's the creativity thinking? Where, like, you're not planning what feels in your heart right for you, you're listening to a robot. That just sounds bonkers, right?
Yeah. I actually raised this question a while ago when I was unemployed. I went to this. They did this start your business program, and it was basically everyone that was starting their business in Luxembourg, and they were helping you do it. And we there was a lady talking about AI, and I raised this question about, if I ask the same question 10 minutes apart, I get a different answer, and something really scared me, that you, like you say, the foundations of your business is based on something that is always shifting, it's always learning, etc. So how do you do that? That is exactly the opposite of how we operate, because I genuinely believe that we should build businesses based off values and what we want, and then everything else goes around that. That's maybe unique to me, but I think if your values are, okay, I want freedom, like you said, you want to be around for your kids, etc. Okay, but if you have that as a value, when those decisions are, oh, should I sit at my computer or should I go and play with the kids? If you have that question, you can keep coming back to it. But unless AI knows all of that and is constantly fixed with that, it's always shifting. And I think, I am positive there are so many businesses out there who have been built just based on something that is shifting all the times, and that's quite scary, because ultimately you end up with a business that is evolving day after day, but in the wrong way, because the foundations are shifting, not because you want it to. And I think it's something we should really be aware of, and it's great that you've experienced and I've experienced, and that we can share this, because people listening, that hopefully they see that, and and that human side, that thing that we want should stay. And then I've said for a long time, even before AI, technology should work for us, not us work for it. And again, it's very easy to fall into the trap. I'm not judging anyone, because I've done it before.
Yeah.
But you have to be conscious. You have to take that moment to go, okay, where am I? And especially when you're on your own, sometimes it's easy if you're working with other people. People can go, oh, hang on a second. But when you're all in it and you're really in the detail, it can be very okay, you've lost 2 hours, and you go, oh, hang on, I didn't think about it. But pulling yourself out of that, and something that really worked for me, I had a career coach that for a long time, and she explained to me that about building the foundations of who I was. So exercise is very important to me. My family is very important to me. Uh, I do breath work and sort of meditation combined, and so I do these workouts, and they're scheduled in my day. And at first I thought, oh, that's quite unproductive, because I, I, I block out in my calendar every day time to do this. And then you think, oh, well, if I didn't do that, then I could do maybe an hour or 2 hours of more work or connecting with people. But I really believe, and even enhanced on this conversation, is that having that gives that automatic switch off regardless, because they are what I'm rooted in. Those things allow me, give me the reason to go off and go and do some exercise or go and pick up the kids. And it's that sort of centers me. And it doesn't mean that I won't get lost in it along the way, but at least if I can keep those consistent, I have foundational things to pull me out, because I am working on my own. There is no one else
Yeah,
here. I've got a girlfriend that supports me, etc., and that's great. But they're not here all the time, and a day can be very intense and looking at a screen. But if I can pull myself out of that, then it does give me that moment. And like you mentioned creativity before, I I never believed that I was creative. I didn't realize I was a perfectionist. And when you lose some of those, or you bring especially the perfectionist side in, and you can just it can override everything else that's going on in your life. You go, oh yeah, we're just going to make that a little bit better, and that's fine to create something that's really, really, really good. But I think there is this line where you fall over, and you're it's not about perfectionism. It's about something internal. It's like, okay, I'm avoiding posting this in case people judge me or something.
yeah,
I think having those boundaries, but I actually have them in my calendar, um, really helps me go, okay. And I know if I don't exercise or I don't do those things, um, yeah, things can go a bit messy quite quickly in my mind. So
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm grateful for learned those, that sort of skill.
yeah. And I am exactly like you in that sense, but I still haven't mastered that, because I will get drawn to sitting in this chair and working on this screen. And yeah, hours can go by, and yeah, may have made some progress, I may not. I'm rewriting my posts and everything, but I get the most clarity when I'm actually away from this computer. It's astounding. It's when I first wake up in the morning, I have a light bulb moment. It's when I'm at the gym. It's when I'm cooking or something. So yeah, those boundaries really should be in place. And I know what's best for me, but something just draws me to this computer, which drives me bonkers, because, I'm going to the gym less, which isn't good, because yeah, mentally that really does help. But yeah, it just comes from the desire to build, doesn't it? To get further along. But in doing that, we can't lose ourselves. So yeah, I'm still working out that balance. I know what I need to be doing, but whether I do it is another thing. And like going back to this post again, of spending 2 hours rewriting and everything, it wasn't until I stepped away, I slept, I woke up, and guess what I did? I rewrote the whole thing in like minutes. It's like, because I'd stepped away, I'm like, oh, like I literally could have been having a laugh with my kids and my husband. Yeah, instead I'm trying to figure these words out, because I don't know who I am right now. I haven't figured the human side of me that doesn't worry about perfection and writing the LinkedIn way, that this way or that way. I haven't figured it out, so I'm still overthinking everything. So yeah, that's a little frustrating. But hopefully the next couple of weeks is going to break that down even more. And I actually heard from somebody that I'm following at the moment, when you're writing content, is to have a timer and stick to that.
Okay.
And just that, and it will slowly reduce. My timer at first is probably still going to be an hour, which sounds absolutely bonkers. For anybody that actually writes content, they're like, what are you on about? I'm like, but that's how long it takes me, because I care so much how my words are landing, and I'm not sure of myself, in the sense of, you know, just let myself be free and transparent. So yeah.
It's I absolutely love that. So you say it's like frustration, but I love this because it's all working out what's right, what's working, what's not, and you know you're coming up with all these tips and tricks and stuff. And I know we always want to get to the end, you know, quite quickly. And like you said, you know, we've probably touched on about 10% of the things that we uh, we should be talking about. But the reality is, there's it's just step by step and just working out those things. And I think it, again, you know, I wanted this to be something, yeah, that took off instantly. But I believe that the what makes us great is going through all of this stuff and experiencing it and talking from authority. And you, like you say, you haven't got it all figured out, which is absolutely perfect, because you shouldn't have it all figured out. And even when you've got it figured out, there'll be a new thing.
Oh yeah,
And
there'll be a
that's,
new next. Yeah.
and I think oftentimes that stops a lot of people even starting, because they think they need to figure it out. And but you know, showing up, you know, putting ourselves on camera, you know, not being clear on, you know, what we're going to say or how we're going to show up is actually the right thing, because we only get good by doing it.
I,
And you know, and then you learn from each single one. And I used to often think that, oh, everyone's going to see my videos or whatever. And then I realized not that many people were paying attention, but slowly they do. And the people that I worried about watching it, you know, people I used to work with, and I was like, oh, what would they think of me? It doesn't really matter. If they like me, they like me. If they don't, you know, that's also okay. I'm not an every person. I used to try to please everybody, and
yeah,
something that happened recently really made me say, no, 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 like, because that's just it's just so energy draining. And once you do that, I think for me, I've started just to connect with who I am. I try to show up as I am. That that takes discipline, because I've had 47 years of doing it the other way, and it's just okay. Just be a little bit more braver today. You know, like, so I'll even so I thought about wearing this hoodie today, and I thought, oh, that's maybe a bit bright, but I like bright colours, and I was like, why don't you just wear the hoodie? Like it's so insane what a tiny decision can do
yeah,
in your head. And then you do it, and you just get a bit braver. And we always have this thing where we say, oh, we want to be confident, and we go, oh yeah, we look at people that are confident and are on stage or whatever. But we can be confident. It just takes just every day, just a little bit and a tiny bit. And it doesn't need to be this huge, massive leap every day. You do it bit by bit, and then your brain realizes, okay, I am confident. I wasn't great on camera before. I've just learned to lean into it and trust it. And yeah, and it's come. There's still moments where I go, ooh, but it's just something that you have to go through.
yeah,
And we desperately want to live in a world where, yeah, I wake up tomorrow, everything's fantastic, but that's not real. And I think, you know, I wanted to be this success overnight, and I wanted admiration from people, but I much prefer building it in this way, because I also feared being very successful too quickly. So this actually plays very nicely into me, that goes, oh, okay, success can be slow, and build it in. You know, it doesn't need to all be like the floodgates opening. And I like that, and I see that in you, because it's frustrating, but you're airing that frustration. And the more you do that, the more you're working it out. And that's because you have this open mind. You know, I know you beat yourself up a bit. I can see that. I can recognize that. But you, you are getting better. I mean, even since our last conversation, I can see that you know, you're going through stuff, but you're improving. You know, you realize that there's things that you want to work on and stuff. It just doesn't need to be overnight. You know, and time does go quickly. Like you said, you can burn 2 hours, and you want to get everything done. But I think you're doing such an amazing job, and that journey is so interesting for people. And don't ever let that go, because I think it's honestly, it's the sort of thing that I would click and watch. So if I would do it, there's going to be a ton of people that are going to do the same thing.
Well, that's nice to hear. Yeah, I mean, I know, like I've said, I know the business I want to build. I know how I want to treat the customers. I know how I want to give value. That's like hands down, I have to be providing value. So I know that I can't do that without building connection. And I can't build connection if I'm going to hide behind my computer. And I know I need to start somewhere, so I just need to start. So it took me a long time to start talking about my work, even. But then I got great feedback, like you. They were like, "You're so animated, like it's infectious." Like, yes, like they want to hear more. Then it took me so long to start posting, like the fear. Did it, and I'm like, oh, okay, not too bad. And now this next one, obviously, talking on camera. How am I going to get my words out? Am I going to say, you know, anything of what I wanted to say? But I've broken that now. So that barrier, like, I build things up to a tremendous height. And then I am at the grand age now where I'm like, okay, yeah, you just need to push, you just need to jump. And then once I've jumped, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this now. So maybe I'll commit to getting my husband on and we'll do a chat thing, because I know it's where I relax. Once I'm in the flow of it, I just, like I've said before, if anything, I just want to be able to articulate what I want to say in a clearer way, in a clearer manner. So people are like, oh, yeah, I get you. But in the same breath, then that's aiming for perfection. Like, people are going to feed off my energy. So I just need to maybe embrace that a bit more. I don't know. See, I'm rambling now, rambling again.
No, it's not. It's but that's real life. That's we take a clip and then we reduce it down into a tiny thing that looks perfect. But that's how most of our brains work. We're overthinking. You know, we're processing as we go. But that's real life. That's character, and that's who you are. And don't lose that. Like, you know, there are things that maybe that overthinking or stopping you doing it, but you're overcoming that, and that is very inspiring to people. And like you say, you just got to jump, and you jump and you do it. And if you jump, sometimes it's a soft landing, sometimes it's a hard landing. But the fact that you're doing it is very courageous. But I think you know in your heart it's the right thing, and that seems to be driving you, and that's great. And you've got your husband there who's a big supporter. And yeah, like you say, get him on camera as well. You know, it'd be great to have his take on it. And I think, yeah, that sort of passion and interest is such an infectious thing, and people will follow it for sure. So, and you have no idea where it's going to lead. What you're doing now might just be the stepping stone for something in the future. But don't think that who you are is not the right person, because it is. I think there are things that I avoid doing, and I know I avoid doing it, and I put things in the way. And it's about understanding why I'm avoiding it. Is it because of some feeling or some block? If I can get rid of that, then I do. If it's something that I don't need to do, or it's just uncomfortable, maybe I'll ask someone else to do it. It's just understanding what it is. But do you know what? You're real, and that in this world, like I've said many times, is something that we don't have, and people really, I believe, desperately want. And so unfiltered, unedited is the way forward.
Yeah, and I agree. And that connection and that communication side of things, like I say, I was even fearful of talking about what I'm doing. When I broke that barrier and I let people in, the way my brain expanded with all these different insights and ideas was so much fun. Like, so much fun. Like, we have a couple of friends that are very good, that are ahead of me, way ahead. So I look at them in like a mentor kind of thing. But the conversations that I would have, they started from being fearful to talk to them. And then when I broke that barrier of talking to somebody that I, you know, thought was way ahead of me, or is way ahead of me, but when I broke that barrier of, well, I can actually talk, what it opens up, you know, what you learn, how to conduct yourself and talk, and, you know, let your ideas your ideas are going to evolve when there's other voices in. You know, when we're working on our own, it's very narrow-minded. It's my way. I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to figure it out. But as soon as you let other people in, you know, communication, connection, all of that thing, then it explodes again. You know, I have some of the best insights from other people. So yeah, it is stepping away from the computer, isn't it? Or, you know, using it to have these conversations. That's going to help us evolve and, you know, grow. So yeah, more of this.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Fantastic. So I'm very conscious of time, so we're way over the hour. There was a comment from someone called Dr. Keith Amos. I think he's based in Luxembourg. He's connected with us. He said, he sent it a bit earlier on, he said, maybe an analogy is that you write and play the music you love, then the people who like it will be drawn to you.
Oh.
Nice.
I mean, music is a big thing for me.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. You know, through past troubles and things, it's what got me through. And even now, in those moments when I'm feeling heavy and I'm stuck, literally I put a song on, you know, I'm ready to go again. So that's quite interesting. I like that. That's something to explore in that moment. You know, I normally do it to like after the event, you know, to get me back in the game or to release all that tension or anything. I'm like, okay, now I can continue, you know, I'm good. But to actually have music on, as you're saying, whilst you write, that's, yeah, maybe that's the answer. Thank you, Keith.
Very good. Well, for today, I think we're good. But I feel that you and I are going to be in contact, and we're going to probably do a round 2 or 3. We have to look over those 10% that we covered and the 90% we didn't.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more to be said. But I was convinced when I was coming into this conversation that you are one of those people that people should look out for. I am even more convinced that you are well on your way to having a great audience, a great product, and I think the future is very, very bright for you. And the way that you're doing it is so brave, very inspiring for people. So continue doing exactly what you're doing. Don't be hard on yourself. Get yourself on camera, because I think maybe you think you're not good on camera, but I guarantee you are. So
Okay,
if you ever have a doubt, remember me, look at my face. You are brilliant on camera. So yeah, maybe put yourself out there more.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I managed to just block out the fact that it was being recorded, kind of. So yeah, no, more of this. Thank you again. It's been great to connect. And yeah, the reason we did is because of, you know, the way your posts are written, and you expose yourself and you're not hiding behind a facade, that led me to you. So yeah, that's the big lesson there in itself, isn't it? So thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. So for people to find you, so I always repost this and I'll link you on LinkedIn. Is that the best place for people to find you, or is there a website or somewhere else?
Not at the moment, just LinkedIn at the moment, yeah.
Okay, I'll repost. But for today, thank you, and thank you very much, Dr. Keith, for your comment as well. I really appreciate that. Yeah, fantastic. Shannon, real pleasure. You're a superstar. The world is coming to you. So yeah, watch this space.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Fantastic. Take care. Bye.